Today we're going to finish up our study guide. So we're going to start with number 76. It says if the figure shown in the graph is reflected across the y-axis. So my figure started here and I reflected it across y, and we're looking specifically at the x-coordinate. So the x-coordinate goes from a negative positive to a negative negative. So your answer would be -3, -4. Number 77, if the shape EFGHI is reflected across the y-axis, which is right here, it would be in quadrant 2, not quadrant 4. '78, if triangle FGH is rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin, so that's actually the other way, to create F prime, G prime, H prime, the two triangles have the same lengths of corresponding sides, but the slopes of their sides are different. Number 79, it says use the information provided to answer part A and part B. Jillian reflects triangle ABC across the x-axis to create the image A prime, B prime, C prime. Anytime you reflect across the x-axis, you have to change the y of like the sign of the y coordinate, so that would change. So if I have -2, +5, that's going to change to -2, -5. So your answer would be B on part B. Number 80, if the shape WXYZ is translated down by 4 and to the left by 3, which statement will be true? That the new figure will be the same size as WXYZ. All we did was move it. When we translate, we move. That's it. So we didn't change the size. 81, Logan drew two trapezoids as shown on the graph below. Select the options that complete the sentence. So it says the two trapezoids are congruent because trapezoid PQRS is reflected over the x-axis and translated 10 units to the left to create trapezoid WXYZ. So we reflect and then translate to get one from the other. And you can use patty paper to help you see that. 82, very similar to the last one. It says Gabe drew two trapezoids. The two trapezoids are shown. And it says select the options that complete the sentence. So the two trapezoids are congruent because RSTU is rotated 180 degrees counterclockwise around the origin and 2 units up to create trapezoid FGHI. And this is another one of those where you would use patty paper to check your answers and see what would be the right thing to do. 83. We have right triangle TUV that's shown in the coordinate plane, and it's dilated by a factor of 1/2. Remember, you can change that in your calculator. Do 1 divided by 2, which will give you 0.5. And it is centered at the origin and then translated 3 units to the right to form a new triangle, T prime, U prime, V prime. So here's the original, and we're going to multiply everything by 1/2. So that means TU, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you multiply that by 1/2, you get 3. And UV is 4, and if you multiply that by 1/2, you get 2. So that gives us the answer to part B. So UV is now 2 units. And we need to know that the formula for area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2, or 1/2 the base times the height, anything like that. So you would take this and you would multiply the new base times the new height, which is 3 times 2, divide that by 2, which gives you 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So the new area is 3 square units. 84, line CD is located in quadrant 1. The coordinates are 2, 4, 6, 8, and they are dilated by a scale of 0.5 and then translated 3 units to the left. And so the new coordinates of C, we would have to multiply by 0.5, which gives us 1, 2. And then, since we're moving it 3 to the left, we would subtract 3 from the x coordinate, which is right here, and that would give me negative 2, 2. So my answer is D. 85. So we have to figure out, it says rectangle ABCD is, as shown in the coordinate plane, is rotated 90 degrees about the origin and then dilated by a factor of 2. The new triangle is A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. So if it's dilated by 2, that means we have to multiply everything by 2. So I found the length of the side. So AB is 3, DC is 3, BC is 6, and AD is 6. So if I'm going to dilate those by a scale factor of 2, I multiply them both by 2. So D prime C prime is 6, and B prime C prime is 12. So now I have my two new lengths. So I multiply them together because area is length times width, which gives me 72. 86, right triangle GHI is rotated 180 degrees clockwise and dilated by a scale factor of 3. So I counted my boxes for GI, which is 4, and IH, which is 3, multiplied them both by 3, and got 12 and 9. Area of a triangle is 12 times 9 divided by 2, which is 54. So the new area is going to be 54. And we can look here, and the new length of GI after the dilation is 12 units because we had to multiply by 3. 87. So now we're going to talk about the number system. So we got to talk about rational versus irrational. So if you remember on the anchor chart, rational numbers are numbers that can be written as a ratio or a fraction. So examples of rational numbers are perfect squares, whole numbers, both positive and negative, repeating decimals, mixed numbers, like I said, regular fractions, and terminating decimals. Whereas irrational numbers are numbers that cannot be written as a fraction. So non-perfect squares, numbers that don't seem to make sense, they keep going on forever and ever without a pattern. Any square root divided by a number, if it's not a perfect square root, it's definitely going to be irrational, and pi is always irrational. So in this case, the only two rational numbers are the fraction -4/9 and the square root of 169 because it is a perfect square. Number 88. Which number is considered to be a rational number? The only one that's rational in this group is B because 25 is the only perfect square. Number 89, it says select all of the rational numbers in the chart below. The first one, 2.88, is a terminating decimal and therefore it is rational. The square root of 3 is not a perfect square, so it's not rational. 0.27 repeating. Anything repeating is rational. 4.12112 ... means it keeps going, but there's no pattern to it, so therefore it's irrational. 3 pi is irrational because it has pi. And -3.3 repeating, because it's repeating, it is rational. Number 90, select an answer from the drop-down menu to answer the following question. Does the decimal expansion of 3 divided by 40 either A, terminate after 2 decimal places, B, terminate after 3 decimal places, begin repeating after 1 decimal place, or neither terminate nor repeat? And the correct answer is B, which is terminate after 3 decimal places. And you can put that in your calculator. 91, which numbers fall between 8 and 9 on the number line? Put these in your calculator. The square root of 18 plus the square root of 21 falls between 8 and 9, and 14 pi divided by 5 falls between 8 and 9 on a number line. Make sure you select all that apply. The area of a base of a cube is 34 square meters. What is the length of one side? So since it's a cube, that means both of them are going to be the same, so I can take the square root of the base. So the square root of 34 is approximately 5.8. 93, Mona has been assigned several irrational numbers, and she needs to figure out between what two whole numbers they lie. The square root of 2 is between 1 and 2. The square root of 19 is between 4 and 5. The square root of 10 is between 3 and 4. And 2 pi is between 6 and 7. And all those can be plugged into your calculator. 94. Which of the following statements correctly estimates the value of this expression? And you would just put these in your calculator. The square root of 15 minus the square root of 10. Make sure you do them separately. Don't put them together under the same square root. And so the value of this expression is less than 1. And number 95, last question, which numbers fall between 10 and 11 on the number line? You would put each one of these in your calculator, and the answers are 10 pi divided by 3, the square root of 48 plus the square root of 10, and pi times the square root of 180 divided by the square root of 16. And that's all for today. Thank you.